Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Good morning. Thanks for the warm welcome, Joe. Appreciate it. Hopefully everyone got a chance to catch up with the keynote this morning. There were some exciting announcements, version 1.2 of focus specification and the virtual currency. I think some of the things that caught my eye, and the AI certification, so looking forward to some of that. Set the bar. We're level 200 session, so we're not going to be getting into grave amount of details on things, but there is going to be an exam at the end on the sequel that we're going to be. So if there's any people that are afraid of exams, now is your time. No, I'm just kidding. There's not going to be an exam. We're here to talk transforming Databricks cost management data into the focus format. So a little bit about me. I'm Cory Syvenky, cloud and data architect. I work with Teck Resources. Teck is a Canadian mining company that's focused on the metals essential for the energy transition. I have lots of hands-on experience in Azure AWS. My career in IT spans over 28 years. I've been involved in open source Linux projects since about 1997, during which time I've developed a diverse technical skill set, including proficiency in data analytics, AI and machine learning, software development, infrastructure design, deployment, and observability. Additionally, I've actively contributed to the Focus Converter and Focus user working groups with the FinOps Foundation. You can see I like to take, from the badges on the far right there, I like to take my hard-earned money and put myself through exams. I encourage you to do the same. There's a lot to be learned from the FinOps Foundation. Excuse me. So why is this session important to FinOps practitioner? I myself am a practitioner. If we just came from the keynotes, you get to see all the EVPs and all these very important people come up to the stage. I am just a low-level person that just happens to do this for my job and have to roll up my sleeves and do hard work. So this session is important to FinOps practitioners because transforming Databricks vendor-provided cost management data into the focus format, practitioners can achieve a standardized method for reporting and analyzing service and workload costs. We're going to be providing clearer insights into the total cost of ownership, enabling better cost of allocation and optimization techniques, reducing manual effort in processing and analyzing costing trends, helping enterprises optimize their cloud spend, and lessening engineering efforts required to integrate Databricks cost data with FinOps tools. I think that's a good reason why a lot of us are here today. So who here, by show of hands, understands the importance of the focus specification? Pretty much everybody. I don't think that is too much of a surprise. We're here in San Diego, the FinOps X conference. A major aspect of the foundation is the focus specification that's been put forward and adopted by many of the largest cloud providers that are out there. And then who here thinks or was told it would be easiest to ingest this data into their FinOps platform? I know that's what we saw when we went through a whole bunch of vendor presentations. Oh, you just click this button and voila, all these spreadsheets and dashboards. Turns out it wasn't so easy. A little bit easier on some fronts, a little bit harder on others. And most specifically, we're a fairly large consumer of the Databricks platform, and it's great that they provide some cost management information for the customers. We were actively trying to work towards focus adoption as much as possible. And so we'll take you through that journey a little bit here. Gonna have to do this. I know most people here know it all, but just in case, because again, it's a level 200 session, so I can't assume that everybody is fully versed. Adopting the focus format allows for better visibility and control over software as a service expenditures. Practitioners can leverage standardized data to optimize cloud spending, identifying cost savings opportunities, and improve their overall financial management capabilities. This session highlights the importance of SaaS platforms providing focus formatted data for their customers. A win-win for Databricks and its customers, increasing trust and adoption. And multiple users have expressed eagerness for focus support. So that last comment there, or that last bullet point rather, is about a LinkedIn post that was started by Greg Krolewski back in about Valentine's Day. That shows how far back we have to start working on some of these presentations. J.R. Storment visited the San Francisco offices. I wasn't present, of course, but I could only guess that they were talking about things like the focus format. So a couple of our partners from Databricks are actually in attendance. If I could get Mr. Greg and Sadhana to stand and give a wave, are you okay with that? A couple representatives here. Thanks, folks. Let's go through a quick introduction to Databricks. Again, not necessarily everybody is even aware of what the platform is. So it's a leading SaaS platform designed for big data analytics, machine learning, and AI-driven workloads. It's built on Apache Spark and enables high-performance data processing at scale. So one thing that attracted me to the platform is based on my lineage with both the Linux, all variations of Linux distributions and the open source nature of the business. Their lineage in the open source world is one thing that attracted me to their platform. Used by enterprises to unify data engineering, data science, and business intelligence workflows. And it's a senior solution architect that I work with back in Calgary gave me this quote: leading data warehouse platform that gets your data AI ready. I think it's pretty clear that AI is going to be a large version of big portion of our future as we move forward. And then we have the SaaS and public cloud scopes. So this morning in the keynote, JR was talking about the scope capability within the foundation, and I think that those two are good representation of the scopes for the Databricks platform itself. So some key features and capabilities. Multi-cloud deployment. It's available on AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud, ensuring the utmost in flexibility. So no matter which of the public clouds you're in, you can probably get this system working for you. It provides collaborative notebooks and enables interactive development and data exploration. So if you're familiar with the Jupyter Notebook concept, this is basically one of the capabilities would allow you to run that type of exploratory data analysis in a notebook type environment, but you're not running it locally on your workstation. You'll be running it in the cloud on some server infrastructure on the cloud, which allows you to do it at great scale. So to the next point, scalability and performance, optimized for processing large data sets efficiently. So now, again, if you're not working on your laptop, you're able to go through terabytes or more of information. Data governance capabilities built in with Unity Catalog. We'll touch a little bit more about that further on in the talk. And optimized compute and auto-scaling. The system itself is capable of dynamically adjusting resource to balance performance and costs, which is another great capability that the platform vendor themselves are adding to the capabilities. At our company, we use Databricks for several different things. The ones I'm kind of just like to highlight quickly here is we stream, process, and warehouse sensor information from equipment at the mine site, so IoT or Internet of Things. And it's also been used as a key component in a Gen AI RAG implementation we've done. We had many decades worth of exploration documents that we decided to put a chatbot in front of to help our exploration engineers. And then recently announced, I guess, is the SAP BDC, or the Business Data Cloud, that they've announced that will be an OEM version of Databricks built right into the SAP cloud. So I think there will probably be more on those types of announcements at the Data and AI Summit in San Francisco next week. And then how is Databricks built? Databricks is built on Databricks units, or consumption-based pricing model, where compute resources and other services are measured in DBUs. Instance types matter. Costs vary depending on VM's type, size, and region. So again, I was talking a little earlier, if you're running your workloads in the cloud, you're obviously using VM as the mechanism or unit that is going to be billed by your CSP rather. And so you obviously control your own fate a little bit by the types of compute you choose to set up within the platform, and the types of environments that you build out for either your engineering team or your product as it's actually in production. Cluster uptime. Charges are based on active clusters, meaning long-running clusters drive costs up. So, I mean, this kind of goes without saying. If we spool up a cluster and put a workload on it and just leave it running 24/7, I'm going to be billed for all that time that it's running. On the flip side, if I have a business unit or a capability that they only need to run things on some kind of scheduled or batch basis, we can set up automation for them for the workload to come up, do what it needs to do, and tear back down afterwards, and then we're only paying for that small slice of time as opposed to constantly running time. It's easy to get access to, AWS and Google make their platform available through their marketplace offerings. So it's basically, click through and you can have it deployed. This is a screenshot that was taken from Databricks pricing page. It's by no means a complete list. It was taken a few months back, and you can see here from right to left the cost decrease. We go from 40 cents a DBU through 22 cents through to 15 cents. The data engineering workloads in this case consists of workflows, Delta Live Tables, Live Lakeflow Connect rather. The middle section talks about the data warehousing capabilities and interactive workloads for data science and compute for apps. So there's actually an app hosting platform for built right into the platform. So anybody that's doing kind of custom Python visualizations, that type of thing, you can actually just build that right into the platform now. What I see as a practitioner here, I'm obviously most piqued by the items on the far left, right? I want to be paying 15 cents a DBU, not 40 cents a DBU. So that tells me I should be putting as much of my workloads in the data engineering space as possible. Begs the question, why would anybody run interactive workloads? An example there is the all-purpose compute. Like this is a type of cluster that can be spun up. It's great for things like exploratory data analysis where you don't have predetermined product or some kind of go-to-market product that you're working on, but rather a curious business analyst or data engineer or FinOps practitioner, any of these types of people that just need to get some insights quickly on the platform. It's this trade-off in convenience, right? If you need that type of ad hoc access, well, you're going to potentially be paying a little bit more for it. But if you can standardize that type of what is ad hoc today, you can standardize it. There's no reason why you can't automate it and move it left into the data engineering space. So how do we run Databricks efficiently? We just talked about the consumption model being DBUs or Databricks units. You can save on the platform itself by pre-purchasing DBUs at an agreed upon discount. So this would be closed doors discussions between your corporation and either the CSP and or Databricks to pre-purchase an allotment at a commitment discount. And of course, the reason for doing this would help optimize long-term workloads. If you have a product is based on Databricks, it's going to be running 365 days a year. This is going to be one of your best options to move forward with. And then if you choose to not go the serverless route, there's multiple different kind of avenues we can take on the compute perspective, but purchasing reservation compute instances or commitment-based discounts for the compute. So saving on the virtual machines by pre-purchasing with your CSP. Getting discount commitment for a certain level of compute usage in a specific region. That's what they provide. And reduces overall spend compared to on-demand pricing. And they provide a higher level of savings as compared with savings plans. Platform has native tooling built right in from a FinOps perspective. One thing that got cut off here from the slide deck is the x-axis and y-axis. It's time scale and cost up the y-axis. Databricks has additional cost management capabilities native to the platform. This includes the account usage dashboard, which can be published to any workspace. So this is the platform providing some of the early capabilities for managing cost right into the platform itself. You can see here on the right-hand side, probably the three that we'd point out here is the difference between SQL, jobs compute in the middle with the light blue, and all-purpose in the dark blue. And then just at a glance, as a practitioner or an analyst that's looking through this data, you can kind of see in the earlier days, we definitely spent far more on all-purpose than we did on SQL, for example. So you can see them almost trading spaces as we learned how to move things into the jobs category. It almost looks like jobs is on the decrease. There's a little bit of a longer story there that I can't get into. So this is great. The vendor provides this. Imagine having to do this with 20 different SaaS platforms, go into 20 different screens to try to understand the same thing, right? This is the rationale for FinOps platform, for example. So the downside is not being able to see all your costs in one place, right? So if we move on, this talk is about mapping Databricks data to the focus format. This purely became an exercise in just rolling up the sleeves and doing. It wasn't provided by the vendor. We had a strong demand for support for the focus format because we already had agreed upon the FinOps platform that we were going to be moving with. They were early adopters of focus, and it just was, the runway was basically laid out for us. So what we can see here on the right-hand side, the focus columns are the A column. B is the column that we got from, or what I interpreted from the system tables. We'll talk a little bit about the system tables in a bit, but this is the location where the vendor provides and shares your account information back with you through a platform that they call system tables. There's obviously lots of challenges that you're going to have to work through here. You have to put on the hat of a data engineer as you go through this exercise. Like if you look at the B column, you see the grayed out categories. These are columns that, again, if A is what Focus expects, B is what I was able to provide. Right out of the gate, you have to understand that there's going to be gaps that are missing. There's going to be null values. There's going to be missing values. There's going to be date format type problems. And then C column was just things that I had available to me that I chose to not map into Focus, but just wanted to make sure that I didn't have it fall through the cracks. And we'll actually see how usage data ended up getting used in further slides. So during the build out of this and during the analysis and design thinking of this, I ended up using Gen AI platforms to assist with the analysis and planning of it. I'm a big fan of the GitHub Copilot system and the platform that's built into GitHub rather. It became very easy to just take like the PDF documentation provided by the FinOps Foundation, give it to the GitHub Copilot, and then ask it things like, help it make shorter design choices on my behalf. So for example, I think one of the first ones that I can remember off the top of my head was, look to the Focus format, tell me all the things that are required, give me all the data type information about them, give me all their programmatic names, in this type of format, and that's something that Gen AI system is very eager to help you with. It's not to say that you couldn't have learned those things through, just scanning the Focus specifications themselves. I found that they weren't in, excuse me, bite-sized consumable pieces of information. Excuse me. Rather, since it's a specification document, by definition, it's kind of long and drawn out. But what I needed was consumable bite-sized pieces of information that I just wanted to move forward with. So as we moved through that, here we get to learn a little bit about the power of the FinOps community. What we're seeing here is I talked about the date format issue. So at the very top here, you can see this is me weighing in on the FinOps Foundation Slack site. And I was in the middle of this exercise and I ran into a problem with milliseconds. And in that the platform that we're using to ingest data into did not support the millisecond concept. So I thought this was going to be a fairly major issue because the platform that we're using doesn't support it, and it seems like the specification specifically calls out the ISO standard 8601, meaning that I have to do that. So in the series of like the next 57 minutes, Christopher from Datadog weighs in and leaves a comment that he believes that the specification is a little bit more flexible than I was giving it credit for. Asks Mr. Kraft to weigh in. Carl Kraft from Walmart weighs in that he has access to the 4Pay ISO standard and confirmed that milliseconds are not needed and that the standard is flexible, which told me I could easily go back to the SQL that I was writing, do a small transform to drop the milliseconds off the list, and everything flowed through, right? So the power of the community shouldn't go understated here. So we're doing this through the implementation in SQL. SQL is a structured query language, a language used to manage data, especially in relational database management systems. It's been around since 1973. It's adoptable by most organizations. In our case, nearly 200 lines of SQL code to implement the logic necessary to conform with Focus. Oh my goodness, can you even see that? Sorry, you'll have to take my word for it. On the right-hand side, the blobs that are in white there are the fields that we're bringing back from the system tables. Again, this is what we're actually querying, the system tables that were shared by the Databricks platform via our account console and our APIs. So the items in white are the fields that we're pulling back. I added a bunch of documentation right in line in the green there. So it talks about, let's see if I can find one specifically to call out. Line 13 there, billing period end. It's a dimension, it's mandatory, it's not null, and it's of date type ISO 8601, that format that we just talked about, right? This was a very early version of it. You can actually see its draft. With Databricks' help, actually, we found a bug in this, so we'll talk a little bit about this later. Don't take any screenshots of this or try to use this. At the very top, just highlight the fact that minus the usability issue and that they're backwards. I think it's just an alphabetic thing. We have a start date and end date parameters, because of course your FinOps platform is going to expect this data to be coming in batches, right? You're obviously going to determine what that batch cycle is. In our case, we wanted to do it on a daily basis. So the automation basically says the start date is start of yesterday to the end of yesterday, run the batch, get the data set back, ingest it into the platform, rinse and repeat. If there's any practitioners that are here that don't have a very strong technical background and don't know SQL, and this is starting to get a little bit intimidating, again, just through how popular that language is and how long it's been, if you don't know it, I guarantee somebody 2 doors down from you probably does know it. And then going back to my comment about the community, definitely reach out. You'll find that there's nothing to be ashamed of. There's no reason to ask for help. No reason not to ask for help. Go on, there we go. So a little bit more about, we're going to go through a couple of quick videos here that show what's happening when that interactive notebook runs. So I'll just kind of set the stage a little bit here in that as soon as the video starts, we're going to be looking at a Databricks notebook. We're going to see a tabular data set across the bottom. That's because the query that we're talking about here today has already been run and the data set has already been returned. And then we'll take it from there. So there's the tabular data set. We can say right within the platform, let's create a visualization. On the x-axis, I'm going to pick the usage date, which we talked about, which is unmapped. On the y-axis, we're going to pick the build cost, or the sum of build cost. Let's group it by service type. There's that service name. And group it. And give it some proper axis names. Call the bottom the usage date. And call the y-axis build cost in dollars. The rationale for doing something like this, again, if I just wanted quick insights into this data, and it's purely Databricks information that I'm looking for, I can do this all right within the platform, right? I didn't have to go to a FinOps platform to do it. There's reasons why you'd want to move to a FinOps platform, but I can do, the beauty of it being a data analytics platform itself is I can do that analysis right in line. And then the rationale for, of course, clearing up the labels, product labels, is it's a shareable concept, right? That notebook isn't just for me. I can share it with my team. I can share it with my leadership. So, of course, I want it to be as ingestible and visible by everybody. And then once it's run, I guess we'll just move to the next one here quick. Going back to that concept, instead of it being called Visualization 1, let's give it a proper name. Call it something like Focus 1.1. And now we can start our inline analysis, right? This is an interactive notebook, so I can click on these. That shows us all-purpose compute, all-purpose serverless. We can see our 5-day cycle of jobs that are running. And sorry, I can't see what that last one is, something about all-purpose compute. So again, very powerful analytic capabilities just built right into the platform. But our core objective, of course, here today is to move it into a FinOps tool. Excuse me, so let's keep going. FinOps platform integration. So what are we doing? We're doing data movement, right? We have to take what the platform provides for us and move it into a FinOps platform. I guess at this point, I would also like to have people think that even though the talk was specifically about Databricks and we are talking about some Databricks specific technology, there's no reason why these concepts can't be translated to any SaaS vendor and their products and how you ingest it into the system. You're probably going to have to go through the same cycle of steps and this run over the same types of hurdles that we ran into to get here. So we're moving data from the source to the FinOps platform using FinOps platform's REST API for data ingestion. Again, we're getting into a little bit of techno jargon here. REST API is just being able to make service calls to an endpoint over HTTP, just like web browser traffic, but it's more like computer-to-computer traffic as opposed to you going to CNN website or something like that. How we're going to do it through an ETL process, a standardized and repeatable process for data processing. And we'll see the pipeline used for transforming Databricks data in some coming slides. So it begs the question, why? Why FinOps platforms? I mean, a couple bullet points here: visualizations, role-based access controls, and cost allocation rules. There's very many other reasons for it, but these are just some of the high-level ones that were most attractive to us. The State of FinOps report for 2025 shows that 30% of respondents have marked full allocation of cloud spend as one of their key priorities. That's actually second on the list. 30% sounds small, but of the top two, full allocation was ranked 2. Our company is no different. That's where we're spending almost all of our time. For curiosity, the number 1 item was reduction of waste, which I'm guessing here many of your companies are struggling with as well. The FinOps platforms are available in the expo hall. You know, we're lucky enough to be here at this conference where pretty much every vendor under the sun is here. I'm sure they'd be happy to give you a demonstration and walkthrough of their product if you're unfamiliar with the differences between some of their capabilities. Get a tiny bit into the architecture here. So on the left-hand side, there's the Unity catalog, which we talked about as their kind of universal governance solution. And on the right-hand side is the Databricks workspace, the item that's actually doing the work. So there's a job or workflow. So this is the blue item with the gears. It is scheduled to run 5 minutes after midnight, which triggers our notebook. Our notebook has that SQL query that we've been talking about. And the query actually goes to the system tables that we've talked about several times now. Within Unity catalog system, everything has a 3-point identification naming system. So the catalog is called system, the schema is called billing, and then they provide 2 tables today, one called list prices and one called usage that we're gonna actually join to do the analysis work that we need. So to call that, we would say system.billing.listprices or system.billing.usage in order to retrieve that information. So now our notebook has that tabular data set back, which we've seen in the one video. The next step, because notebooks are sequential, right? They just go one step down to the next step, down to the next step. The next step is actually just saving that out as CSV. Well, why CSV? It's easy to do within the platform to convert it to CSV. Another main reason is the FinOps platform that we're working with expects it to be in the CSV format as opposed to Parquet or Delta or any of the other number of data formats that are out there. And then we're actually saving it to a cloud storage capability that's built into Unity Catalog as well. They call it volume. So now basically every day on this running batch, we're taking CSV data from previous day's data, saving it as a CSV, putting it in this volume for future consumption. And then just a little bit about Unity Catalog. Again, it's open source, unified governance solution. The company actually open sourced it on stage at their conference last year. So again, just going to show their open source lineage of the product and how important that they view that as a model of working, method of working. So I took it through 4 steps. I know we said ETL is 3 steps, but to standardize Databricks cost into focus format, we followed a structured ingestion and processing workflow, ensuring accurate and automated and efficient cost data processing while minimizing manual effort. So the 4 steps there: retrieve, extracting and storing, loading and analyzing. The top 2 are handled by the notebook themselves, and the bottom 2 are handled by the FinOps platform. So you can see it's a team effort, right? The Databricks platform is going to be used for like grabbing the data, organizing it, storing it, and then once we get it into the FinOps platform, that's where we're going to do our analysis work. And these activities can be completed by any of the personas. It can be a FinOps practitioner, it can be a product team, it can be the engineering team. It doesn't take, in this day and age that we live in now, even as a non-technical person, you could go to a Gen AI platform and ask through a prompt, how do I set up an automated job in Databricks if I already have the SQL query available to me? And I can almost guarantee you it would give you easy to follow instructions on how to do it. Yeah. It would be great if you could take it the next step and work through proper CI/CD and deploy it properly and a much more repeatable manner. But again, if where you're at in the crawl, walk, run phase of your FinOps journey, you might be at that crawl stage, in which case you're just trying to solve some of these problems on your own in the same way that I had to do when we were working with the focus format. Let's get into the steps a little bit. The retrieval step, so we leverage SQL Notebook, which we talked about within the Databricks platform. It's scheduled as a job to query cost data provided by the vendor. This approach not only ensures consistent data extraction, but also optimizes costs by reducing manual intervention. Queries pull relevant cost and usage data from supplied system tables. These records are only stored free for a year, so there's something that we also had to consider. If we wanted to do this analysis year over year, which of course is going to be next year's problem, we had to warehouse this data somewhere ourselves because it might no longer be available to us. And then job scheduling helps automate and streamline the query process itself. Again, sorry about the eye chart. At the bottom, for folks that are a little bit more familiar with SQL, you'll see the very familiar from and join statements. At the bottom there, we are joining those system tables that we talked about, and the use of the parameters are also at the bottom. We talked about those date and time parameters, which allow us to have a batch of data. That's the query syntax that's actually allowing us to just select that particular day's worth of data. So moving on into the extract phase, applying the transformation logic to generate a data set that has correct column names, required values, and appropriate data types. The query results are saved in the CSV format and stored in a Unity catalog volume, which we talked about. And this is a central repository that ensures secure storage and enables easy retrieval for our next step. Into the load phase. So to integrate with our FinOps platform, we execute a 3-step programmatic process. Authenticate and initialize the ingestion job using the platform's REST API. Upload the CSV data files to the designated ingestion endpoint, and then commit the ingestion job operation. At this point, this is where we as a community may diverge and your mileage is going to vary, because all of this stuff that I just talked about here is very specific to the Flexera platform. Our company uses Flexera's one FinOps platform. This REST API concept of ingesting data is very specific to them, so whatever platform you use, they may provide a REST API. It may not be a 3-step process, right? So your mileage is going to vary on how this works. What we can see on the right-hand side there is a screenshot of the Postman REST API client, which is a very simple tool. You can think of it as a web browser, but for API calls. We're calling the CBI endpoint. And then on line, I guess it's about 3, you can see we're passing in an integration ID of focus, which tells the Flexera platform that you're going to be getting focus formatted data as opposed to CSV or some other format. Last phase is the analyze, right? This is the most exciting part. This is why you've been doing all the hard work, right? So once we've loaded it into the FinOps platform, data can be analyzed to facilitate cost allocation across business units and products, which is something that we have to spend a lot of energy on. BI dashboards for real-time visualization, commitment discount tracking to optimize resource utilization and identify savings opportunities. And this can and will include new and emerging AI systems that can assist with identifying insights. So this would be AI for FinOps, right? I love that tagline the foundation has. There's FinOps for AI and there's AI for FinOps. This is clearly, these platforms are going to be coming out with AI for FinOps type capabilities. Here's a quick dashboard visualization that we brought up. So this is cost by resource type. Again, you can see across the bottom all the different categories that the provided data, the vendor provided data allow us to slice and dice by, differentiating between things like all-purpose, the jobs, SQL, DLT, interactive, apps, model serving, the list goes on and on. It's a very broad platform and has many capabilities. If you use less of those, of course, your visualizations may be more simple. The thing, as far as the transformation journey goes, the thing that was of interest is Flexera calls it resource type. Well, Focus calls it something different, and your SaaS provider may call it something different. So you have this 3-way translation exercise that has to happen. So in this case, resource type is actually Focus's service name, which the vendor actually calls in their system table billing origin product. So that SQL query that we've reviewed actually does all that translation on our behalf. Another one is cost by service. So what I've done here is, for me in particular, what I found was, you can see here we have the name of the product, SQL, DLT, all-purpose, and then a pipe character, and then another product SKU that kind of comes after that. one of the things that I wanted to do at a glance was be able to just, again, at a glance, see the difference between these types of things. So when it was put in a compound string format like this with the pipe character, I can at a glance see, so for example, SQL. You can see here we have two SQL-based ones on so the second one on the far left and the top one. Same thing with all-purpose. There's 3 on there. So when it's in that compound string format, I don't just get all-purpose compute and then have to weigh through all those, or I don't just get all-purpose compute photon and then have to weigh through all those, right? You can just kind of quickly, and of course this is interactive as well, so you can click on each of those and the visualization will change to show you just those specific SKUs. So yeah, the SQL serverless versus SQL Premium Pro, I found is easier to do analysis on when it was presented in this format. Some benefits of adopting the focus format: enhanced visibility and control of cloud costs. FinOps applications help provide optimization and cost savings opportunities. Leveraging unit economics to showcase tangible business outcomes. And promoting cross-team collaboration for financial accountability, bridging the gap between finance, operations, engineering to foster a culture of shared responsibility for cloud costs. Let me say that one again. Fostering a culture of shared accountability for cloud costs. I can't understate that one enough, right? It's a team game. Engineers need to be involved. The finance team needs to be involved. It's truly a team game. It shouldn't just be offloaded onto the FinOps practitioners to try to solve all these problems. There is the Focus Lab on level 1 in the North Tower. These are the experts that they talked about in the keynote. I think Sean was there in the keynote this morning, talked about how the maintainers and all the folks that are involved in the heavy-duty collaboration to actually create all of the versions of the specification are here. So by all means, go visit them. So how do we request vendor support for Focus? At this time, cost data provided by Databricks is not provided in the Focus format. Vendors like Databricks are eager to hear from their customers. If FinOps practitioners want this, we have to take action to request it. Feature requests are available, excuse me. Feature requests are available right within the product or to reach out to your account team. So while I was building this out, I clicked the little button that said send feedback. It said, Dear Databricks, I'm writing to request the addition of the Focus format support for cost management and usage data as outlined by the FinOps Foundation. Blah, blah, blah. Regards, Cory, send. Took me 20 seconds to do that. Their product team is now aware of our company's interest in the adoption of Focus format. Again, this doesn't have to be specific to Databricks. Whatever platform you're using, find your way to reach out to your account team. Sometimes they even have the capability built right in. I'm sorry if I just go back a sec here. Oh, so actually I was given the luxury of adding to my slides after everything was long finalized, because extra, read all about it. Databricks themselves announced the private preview feature for cost export has been available in Focus, which is excellent news. Some key takeaways. Standardization matters. Transforming Databricks cost data into Focus format ensures a consistent, comparable, and actionable financial view across platforms. Automated ETL is cost savings, meaning that using scheduled notebooks for data extraction reduces manual effort and optimizes operational costs. Seamless data workflow, the retrieve, extract, load, analyze process ensures efficient data handling with Unity Catalog for storage, API-based ingestion into the FinOps platform. Visibility and control. Focus formatted data enables better cost allocation, BI-driven insights, and commitment discount tracking, leading to improved cloud financial management. And call to action for vendor adoption. Currently, Databricks does not provide cost data in the Focus format. Unfortunately, this was drafted before the announcement, so that's coming. We must advocate for it, so that still rings true today. And again, this could be for any platform. It's up to us as practitioners and us as the community to let these SaaS providers know we're interested in this stuff. And you can request it through your product features or your account team. So resources for attendees, I'll just leave this up for a quick sec. This is a GitHub repository and a link to such GitHub repository. So in there is all the SQL that is actually doing all of this work right now, and it's been made available for free to anybody to download. I welcome anybody to go and download it, try it out in their platform today. Give me some feedback if they want. And again, just because we're getting into a little bit of techno jargon, repository is a publicly available website for storing and sharing code, documentation, tasks, and automation, in case you're not familiar with what GitHub is. That's the reason why I put this code into an openly available format. Because of the announcement from Databricks about the private preview support, I fully expect this to be obsolete by this time next year. I mean, to me, that is a strong success. If I don't have to do this hard work anymore, the platform provider can do it. They're probably going to do a better job. So what's in the repo today? We have the Databricks provided tables and schema information. So the .schema files are a little bit more technical in nature. They basically just have what the field names are and what their data types are. The MD or Markdown format is a little bit more human-friendly in that it has textual descriptions and a little bit more information to go on. There is notebooks that support both version 1.0 and 1.1. I admittedly missed the boat on 1.2. I was about to do the 1.2 prior to coming to the talk, and I didn't find that there was going to be much additions to 1.2 that would impact me. But after listening to the keynote today and the discussion about virtual currencies, I think I might have to rethink my original approach to that. So kind of start slowing down. This is how to reach me. I'm Cory Syvenky at Teck on the FinOps Foundation Slack site. I'm always available there. I can be reached on X at SPSavvy. There's a LinkedIn profile. So I sincerely hope you enjoyed the real-world journey, and I hope you'll take away some valuable lessons and actionable insights for enhancing your FinOps practices. So if I can just take a moment to thank folks like Rob Martin, Andrew Nyem, J.R. Stormont, Mike Fuller, and our awesome in-house Joe Daly. None of this would be possible without you, so if I could just ask everyone to just give them a quick round of applause. If you can't get enough focus, a couple more sessions, 2 more today, one by the Max Mara Fashion Group, and one by Delivery Hero, 2 more tomorrow by Woven by Toyota and by Disney. And we appreciate any feedback and comments that you may have. I think we have a couple minutes for Q&A, do we, Joe? Absolutely. Yeah?
First catch box.
Yeah, thanks for the talk. I really loved it. I was wondering, one of the things that I've noticed as I've dealt with SaaS data is that it's sometimes not as fresh as cloud CSP provided data. And I saw that you said that you were taking a yesterday's export and then putting that into the Focus spec. I was wondering if there was a data validation step and if you baked any expectations for freshness with the vendor.
We did not, primarily because of 2 reasons. 1, laziness. Why do it if you don't have to? And 2, I know specifically the Databricks provided data doesn't have that issue. Like we don't have fresh as in same day fresh, but we have fresh as in yesterday fresh. And I don't know if you remember that the schedule being kicked off at 5 minutes after midnight. That was another reason for it to try to account for that type of making sure that we've actually reconciled all the way up to the 59th second of 11:59 p.m. and it creates other issues moving forward because now we potentially have 5 minutes of overlap into the next day. For our company, we don't have workloads that are running at those hours, so I guess your mileage may vary.
You're confident in Databricks providing next day accurate data,
yeah,
regardless?
Yeah. Okay.
Hey everyone, producer Andrew here. Thank you so much for watching and for your support. For more FinOps X 2025 content, go check out our YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, and leave comments and questions for all of our wonderful speakers. We appreciate your support.